right now on 5 on your side at 10.
From record warmth today to wind chills this weekend that'll have us all shivering when those changes begin.
Drag queen story time for kids. The fallout tonight on a ballot measure in one Metro East community. Our top story, it's not easy legalizing green.
How are we keeping it away from kids? How are we monitoring high potency?
Tonight, dealing with the reality of recreational marijuana in Missouri. Tonight, just 24 hours after Missouri voters passed Amendment 3, medical marijuana dispensaries in Missouri are preparing to apply for the option to extend who they can sell to. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann has the night off. Right now, the state is preparing guidelines for both old and new dispensaries to be able to sell recreational products. Brent Solomon is live in the Central West End with why not everyone is excited. Brent.
Well, Mike, right now stores like this one all across the state are selling marijuana to medical patients. But soon they'll have the opportunity to pay for a license so that they can sell to anyone who's over 21. That will happen in February. And although the voters have spoken, there are some who are still concerned.
In talking with Illinois operators, they can attribute upwards of 30% of their sales to Missouri driver's licenses.
But not anymore, says Andrew Mullins with Missouri's Medical Cannabis Trade Association. In February, he says those tax dollars and sales will stay in Missouri. 400 current businesses will have the chance to apply to sell recreationally.
They're already preparing. They're looking at capacity. They're looking at, retail planning, how they're going to change the retail space. They're making any plans they may have to around security, around compliance.
144 more licenses will be offered to new business owners.
An opportunity for those that have been economically disadvantaged, those that have been marginalized, to participate in Missouri's licensed commercial cannabis program. Winners will be selected at random.
We have concerns.
Nicole Dawsey heads Prevent Ed, a group that works with those who are addicted to alcohol and drugs. They also work to keep children away from it.
I can't tell you how many calls I fielded today saying, how am I supposed to talk about this at the dinner table with my kids?
Her group now reacting after Missouri voters approved legalizing recreational marijuana for adults.
What's the message that kids will get now about cannabis? And how can we put in some regulatory safeguards to make sure that potency is considered, marketing to kids is considered? Before, we used to be concerned, like, if every time your mother-in-law comes over or you have a stressful day at work, are you grabbing a drink out of the refrigerator? Well, now it's the same thing, but with cannabis.
As part of Amendment 3, those with non-violent marijuana offenses can have their records expunged. That process will begin in 30 days. And I'm told that each locality, every court in each locality, will have a deadline to make sure it gets done. Live in St. Louis tonight, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
And even though Amendment 3 goes into effect next month, recreational pot won't go on sale until February 6th. Missouri residents will also be able to register to grow their own plants at home. There will be a 6% state tax, but local municipalities may tax an additional 3%. This will supposedly generate an estimated $41 million for Missouri. Tonight, votes across the country are still being counted, leaving control of both houses of Congress hanging in the balance. We can tell you that NBC News is projecting that Republicans will take control of the House of Representatives with 222 seats. That is a far cry from the red wave many were expecting. And again, that is still just a projection. Now, in the U.S. Senate, 3 crucial Senate races are still undecided. Right now, Republicans have a 49-48 lead, but mail-in votes are still being counted in Nevada and Arizona. And in the Georgia Senate race, that's headed to a runoff next month. Tonight, President Biden is vowing to work with Republicans who will at least control the House. But he's made it clear he doesn't plan to change anything in his agenda over the next 2 years.
I'm prepared to work with my Republican colleagues. The American people have made clear, I think, that they expect Republicans to be prepared to work with me as well.
President Biden said he expects to make a final judgment on running for re-election early next year. The St. Louis Board of Aldermen is just months away from cutting its staff and wards in half. And tonight, there's a new call to raise the pay for city alderpersons. Our Robert Townsend is live outside City Hall with a look at Board Bill 119. Robert.
Hey, Mike, the proposal calls for nearly doubling the salaries for alderpersons. Tomorrow, it will definitely be a hot topic on the second floor right here at City Hall.
I do think it's long overdue.
President-elect Megan Green says for years, men and women who sit on the St. Louis Board of Aldermen have been underpaid.
We've had quite the disparity from other similar-sized cities, and it's time for us to catch up.
14th Ward Alderwoman Carol Howard agrees, and that's why on Thursday, Howard will introduce Board Bill 119. It calls for increasing the pay for part-time city alderpersons from $37,400 to $72,000 per year. The bill also would give an $800 increase in each alderman's expense allowance, bringing them up to $5,000 per member.
I do think it makes sense.
The board has discussed the salary changes for months as it prepares for April elections. That's when 28 seats will shrink to 14, and the winners will represent 14 wards with twice the constituents they currently have.
Aldermen are going to be doing twice the jobs that they did before, and so increasing the salary, perhaps making it full-time, I think are common sense strategies.
In a statement, Alderwoman Howard said, quote, "It's not going to cost the city any more money." She added the funds were already allocated for 28 people.
Some may deserve more, some may not.
I'm not certain that I believe that they deserve an increase.
Those comments are from city employees.
When we up here working and issuing permits and this, that, and the other, guess what? We certainly deserve an increase.
Subsequent raises in the future for the aldermen will be tied or be contingent upon raises to city employees.
Now, tomorrow the board will only discuss the salary bill. That meeting starts at 10 a.m. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says Jana Elementary School is safe. The agency just completed preliminary tests at the school following an independent report of high levels of radioactive contamination at the school. At a special school board meeting this morning, officials said their tests found levels of radioactivity that, quote, Mother Nature already provides. Concerned parents and school officials are skeptical.
We've gone above and beyond an inordinate amount of concern and making sure, and really the testing so far, the preliminary results have shown that there is not an elevated level of contamination in and around the school.
The Army Corps again continues their precedent of deliberately misleading this community and leaving out important facts that help us set our decisions.
The Army Corps of Engineers plans to host a public meeting next Wednesday. Their final report will be completed by January. All charges have been dropped against a former Lindbergh High School teacher accused of sexually assaulting a student. Grant Gaumer was charged in June with 1 count of sexual contact with a student and 2 counts of statutory sodomy. The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office tells 5 on your side further investigation revealed evidence that did not support those allegations.
I am Bobby Bostic, and I stand here a free man today.
Tonight, a St. Louis man is out of prison after serving more than 27 years. Bobby Bostic was released on parole this morning in Jefferson City. He was sentenced to 241 years in prison after committing an armed robbery when he was a teenager. Bostic says he now plans to get a job and finish working on his 3rd book. Tonight, the results of a controversial ballot measure in the Metro East is getting a lot of attention. Nearly 2 out of 3 voters in Madison County voted no on a referendum question aimed at advertising drag shows at local libraries and schools. New tonight, our Holden Kerwicki spoke with a local librarian at the center of the controversy who says there's a silver lining in the ballot box.
The sign out front of the Glen Carbon Centennial Library says it's the best small library in America. But Director Christine Garish admits it doesn't come without its struggles.
Most of our adult programs were happy to get 10 people.
In an effort to draw more visitors and offer more diverse programs, The library offered a drag queen storytime event over the summer.
I have to say they were some of our best attended programs of the summer. We had around 60 people for the adult program and almost 50 for the story time.
Though she admits she knew at the time there would be some backlash within the community.
Nobody has to come to every program that the library has. That's why we oftentimes have 10 people at a program.
She was surprised to see a referendum question asking voters if tax-supported libraries and schools should promote drag queen events to minors.
The program had the same advertisements as all of our other programs. It was put on Facebook with like 20 other programs.
Nearly 2 in 3 Madison County voters said no, it wasn't appropriate. But Garish is choosing to look at those numbers a bit differently.
It has no legal binding to what we can do in the future. It's an opinion poll for the most part, but it's an important opinion poll because we do want to know what our community wants and what they don't want.
Since the referendum is non-binding, Garish says that the Glen Carbon Library could host another drag queen story time, but since they don't have another event scheduled, it's unlikely at this time. Reporting in Glen Carbon, Illinois, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
We reached out to the Madison County Board of Commissioners for comment on this story, but we have yet to receive a response. Tonight, claims of voter fraud.
You can vote Democrat,
but not Republican.
Not Republican, I'm sorry.
Our Verify team uncovers the truth behind this video. Rising rent. How St. Louisans are making ends meet amid a new housing crisis.
A record high in St. Louis, a hurricane tracking towards the Florida coast, and a northern plains blizzard over the next 24 hours. Your Weather First team's tracking the changes as we head into the weekend.
Tonight, election officials in one Illinois county are trying to figure out who's behind a cyber attack on Election Day. It happened in Champaign County. The county clerk says the issue caused a brief delay in accessing voter information. Officials say it was quickly resolved and did not impact voting. Tonight, claims of social media of widespread election fraud in cities across America. Our Verify team gets to the bottom of a claim Republican voters were turned away at the polls. Here's Adiane Daytil.
On Election Day, this video was posted to Twitter claiming to show a Republican voter being turned away from the polling place. The video appears to show an exchange between the apparent voter and a poll worker.
With this election, you can vote in any precinct.
No, you said the Republican side is not what?
I don't have staff, so we are closed right now.
So for the Democrat, I can vote Democrat?
You can vote Democrat.
But not Republican?
Not Republican, I'm sorry.
So let's verify. Does this video show a voter being turned away from the polls during Tuesday's midterm election? Our sources are Leah Shaw, spokesperson for the Harris County Election Administrator's Office, and InVid, a video forensics tool. Using InVid, Verify found earlier postings of this video dating back to March 1st, the first day of the 2022 primary elections in Texas. So we can verify, no, this video does not show a voter getting denied during Tuesday's midterms. We can also prove that it isn't evidence of election fraud. Let me show you. For this primary, it was the first time that each political party had to staff their own machines and operations. In Harris County, Texas, there were reports of widespread staffing shortages at polling places. So Verify called Leah Shaw. Shaw confirmed that it was taken at the Hardy Senior Center polling location in Houston. She told Verify that the Democrat side of the election was staffed, but the Republican side wasn't. So if somebody was hoping to vote Republican, they could not vote at that location because the side was closed. They could, however, still vote at other open Republican locations. She called the video misleading and told Verify this is not evidence of any kind of voter fraud. With your Verify, I'm Adiane Daytil.
What would you like us to verify for you? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com. Tonight, the CDC is warning about a listeria outbreak linked to deli meat and cheese. 16 cases have been reported in 6 states, including Illinois. 1 person has died. A pregnant woman lost her baby. At least 13 others were hospitalized. Officials say most of the patients reported eating meat or cheese sold at deli counters. If you're a renter in St. Louis, you know it's beyond tough. If you thought inflation was bad, get this. Rent is rising more than 4 times faster than income. In tonight's Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee reports, for some of us, finding safe and affordable housing is a full-time job.
Renting in St. Louis is tough.
It was hard. It was super hard.
What was hard?
trying to find a place.
This is the second time bus driver Lisa Jackson has moved in a handful of years. She was on a wait list a year out.
And I'm like, I couldn't do that. I had to find something ASAP, as soon as possible.
Lisa got lucky when her sister tipped her off on a vacancy, but she knows people who are not as fortunate.
So what do? Living with other folks or living out their cars.
There's a great unmet need of people needing a decent, safe, and affordable place to live, and the availability of it, not only in St. Louis, but all across the country.
Chris Krameyer of Beyond Housing says his organization rents out 500 homes, mostly within the Normandy Schools Collaborative District.
In this past several years, our vacancy rate has almost been zero.
Low inventory, higher rates and fees, inflation, plus low wages add fuel to the fire, leaving many renters with little choice. Just do the math on a job paying $15 an hour.
So your net is, $26,000 divided by 12 is you got a little more than $2,000 a month for everything. The math just doesn't make any sense.
Is it hard or easy to do with your salary as a bus driver?
Right now, it's okay. It's okay. It can be a struggle.
Lisa has housing, but she's had lead pipes removed as well as flooding.
This year, at the end of this year, we're going to start building 36 new homes because we got state tax credits.
Solutions are in the works, but they often don't hit the root of the problem.
The idea of a living wage is you can forge a good life for yourself, and we don't have a real living wage in this country and in the St. Louis region.
It's not easy, but they need to open up more places, tear down these old buildings.
In St. Louis, Michelle Lee, 5 on your side.
When Beyond Housing is unable to help a caller, they often recommend groups like the United Way, a Red Circle, or the Missouri Housing Development Commission. All right, let's turn to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with our Weather First forecast. Man, it's so nice out there, and will be again tomorrow, but then huge changes.
Yeah, big changes. We're just switching seasons completely. It's feeling like today we're 82 for a record high.
So it feels like summer, and it's going to feel like winter.
It's going to feel like January come Friday night.
We missed autumn.
Yeah, we just kind of skipped right over it. And, the winds we've had the last couple of weeks have blown those leaves right out of the trees, too. 82. That's the official high that goes in the record books today. There's only 4 other times when we've been that warm or warmer this late in the season, going back to 1874 for St. Louis. The record for today was 78 just a couple of years ago and back in 1975. And our average high this time of year is 58 degrees. Huge, huge. Well, and it's November and we're talking about the tropics too. We have a hurricane approaching the coast of Florida. Nicole strengthened to a hurricane, Category 1, working over the Bahamas now between the Bahamas and the Florida coastline. It will move short tonight, probably pretty close or just south of Fort Pierce. North of Miami is where the worst of it's going to go, but it will move across Florida. A lot of problems for them. Then we look to our north and west. The weather system we've been tracking to impact us all week long is working its way through the Intermountain region right now. The jet stream loaded with energy, ready to deliver some cold Arctic air to the bi-state region. That's set to move in here as we head into Thursday night and into Friday. We are not on the cold side of this system, and it's a good thing. All of this area from northwest Minnesota back through parts of North Dakota and South Dakota, blizzard warning in effect as we go into tomorrow. Right now in St. Louis, well, that's just a thought that something's coming, but it's still 72 degrees after our high today of 82. The morning low was only 54. It's almost a little muggy out there with 57 degrees, which for this time of year, that's a pretty high dew point. We're not going to see temperatures drop much below 60 tonight. We'll see a partly cloudy sky. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to mostly sunny. We time it out. It's another breezy day for you. Temperatures are going above 70 by lunchtime, mid to upper 70s for the highs. Midnight-ish is when that front comes through. The showers are tending to fizzle a little bit behind the front, but we may have a little bit of rain right around the rush hour early on Friday. But temperatures are cold all day Friday. We're stuck in the 40s. Wind chills are stuck in the 30s throughout the day on Friday. Huge difference here. And morning wind chills on Saturday, how about 15 to 20 degrees? That's where we'll be. Boy, bag out for the scouts this week, scouting for food. They'll be around next Saturday to pick up this Saturday. They get the bags out, and yes, they'll have several layers on, you can bet, because scouts are always prepared, right? Temperatures are cold all of next week, only in the low to mid 40s for highs, overnight lows, mostly in the 20s. Mike, there's a weather system. Monday night into Tuesday.
Yes.
And it's chilly. Don't think it's going to do much, but
we could see some flurries.
Could see our first flakes of the year.
Wow.
Isn't it a shock to go
It is
from
a shock
82 to go to that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In just a couple of days. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Well, Mike, 2 soccer players from the area are going to the World Cup. SLU is trying to advance in the A10 tourney, and we're playing hit and run with Trent Green. Stick around. The Blues host the Sharks tomorrow night, and get there early. It's a salute to the military night. Members of the Blues Warriors hockey team, made up of disabled veterans, will join the players on the ice for the national anthem. I hope the Warriors on the ice will help the Blues end that dreadful 8-game losing streak. Tim Ream is on a winning streak. The 35-year-old defender has made the U.S. men's national team and will play in the World Cup in Qatar. And congrats to Josh Sargent. He's made the squad also. Imagine 2 of the 26 players going to the FIFA World Cup from the same St. Louis high school, St. Dominic. Let's stay with soccer. SLU hosting Dayton in the A10 tourney semifinals in a classic. 1-1 after overtime. The game went to penalty kicks.
Right side.
Brady Easton will score. And the goaltender, Carlos Tofern, will make the save, and SLU wins it. They advance to the finals.
I think God gave me a few more years, on this earth because I was trying to do his work.
Martin Matthews was celebrated by presidents. It's because since 1960, he dedicated his life to helping kids with his legendary Matthews-Dickey Boys and Girls Club. He passed away today at the age of 97. This was a great man. We think we have a great Sports Plus coming up Sunday night. We go one-on-one with Joe Buck to talk life, football, and baseball. And we have the compelling story of former Cardinal Scott Spiezio, who nearly lost his life to drugs. We often play hit and run with famous people, and not many have been more gracious than the pride of Vianney High School, Trent Green. He became a Pro Bowl quarterback with the Chiefs. Tonight it's even bigger. He's playing hit and run. We are constructing the perfect quarterback in NFL history. Whose arm do you take?
Who do you take off the top of my head? Let's go Montana.
Whose legs?
I would go Vic.
Whose heart?
Oh, I'd go Favre on that one.
Scariest defensive player you've ever had to deal with?
Well, just off the top of my head, I guess Ray Lewis pops to mind.
Favorite barbecue in KC?
For me, it is Joe's KC.
Best moment you ever had on a high school basketball court at Vianney?
Best moment? Well, there were several. There was a big win over DeSmet, but I'm going to say that when we beat CBC in the first round of districts, and I was able to put up 40.
Wow. All right, I didn't know that. All right, you can take one former teammate to protect your family. Who would it be?
One former teammate to protect my family, you said?
Yes.
I'll go with Kevin Carter.
Word association, first thing that pops in your head. Dick Vermeil.
Love him.
Mike Martz.
Owe him a lot.
Kurt Warner.
Great friend.
Rodney Harrison.
Good player.
And you had that magnificent preseason. I believe you were like 28 of 31. Then the Rodney Harrison hit. And I'm wondering, have you ever had a conversation with Rodney Harrison?
He didn't apologize, which I didn't expect him to apologize. He just said he was, he felt bad about it happening. He was excited that I was able to come back and get another opportunity in Kansas City, and was able to extend my career and have some successful seasons in Kansas City.
And in 10 seconds, sum up your career in the NFL.
I really enjoyed it. I wish I didn't have to deal with some of the struggles that I had to, but it all made me the player and person that I am today.
Trent lives in Kansas City. All 3 of his kids, Division I athletes, and he's had a great career as a broadcaster on CBS.
Do the Rams in '99 win the Super Bowl if he stayed healthy?
I asked him that. He said yes, and so did Dick Vermeil. I think so. He was awfully good that
He
preseason.
really was.
Wow.
All right, Frank, thanks. Hold the turkey, the growing sentiment about the American Thanksgiving dinner. For the first time since 2020, the Cardinals winter warm-up is returning to in-person this year. It was canceled last year due to a surge in COVID cases. The fan event will run January 14th through the 16th at Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village. Tickets go on sale November 25th. They include a tour of the Cardinals clubhouse and admission to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. And when it comes to Thanksgiving side dishes, are you on team stuffing or team mashed potato? It depends on what side of the river you live on. Campbell's Soup found Missourians prefer stuffing, while people in Illinois go for the mashed potatoes. The survey found half of Americans would only be content with sides on their Thanksgiving plate. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.